and welcome to another episode of CMPAC Spotlight. We thank you for joining us tonight, and we have none other than Bishop Michael Davis in the house, representing Encouraging Testimonies right here on Access 21. So welcome, Bishop Davis.
Thank you. It's a great honor to be here.
Well, I'm glad to have you here. You are getting ready to do some shifting in your life right now.
Yes.
Tell me about that. Tell us about that.
Well, I just recently retired from CATS. I drove city buses for 28 and a half, almost 29 years.
Wow.
I'm just enjoying my grandchildren. I have 9 of them.
Wow.
And from the age of 1 all the way up until 17.
Nice.
And I'm just enjoying life now. And I thank God for it. Just giving me a chance to do that.
Very good. And something else that you're doing is the show that we spotlight here tonight.
Yes.
Tell us more about that too.
Well, I've been doing the show now ever since 2002.
Wow.
And I used to, matter of fact, come to this very studio and do it. And I started doing more outreach stuff because that's what the ministry is all about, doing outreach ministries. And it's really helped me out a lot because it took me into many different horizons, like, prison ministry, outreach ministry, give me nursing home ministry. I've been doing that for 25 years now.
Wow.
And many other things, and I've given me the opportunity to work with other people as well, who's out there doing ministry work as well as working with churches as well. So it's given me a chance to be more broader and bringing forth the word and bringing forth encouraging people to the goodness and the power of God.
You sound like you've been doing quite a bit, and I want to know, how did it start? How did you even start doing ministry?
Well, ironically, it started, I would have to go back to 1984 when something like tragically happened to me in my life.
Okay.
I had was living in Chicago during this time, and the Lord had spoke to me and said that your wife is with child. Of course, me, I wasn't fully into the Lord like I had to be. But anyway, make a long story short, I went home, told her, she went and got checked out. She had the miscarriage, and then I was angry at God. I was upset with him, and the Lord just let me know, I told you your wife with child. You rather listen to man than listen to me. So that was when I made my vows to God that, I'll do whatever you tell me to do. I'll go wherever you tell me to go, and I believe whatever you say, no matter what nobody said. And all I heard from him was, by your own words. And that was in, like I said, 84, around about in October. I shared this testimony with many people, whether they believe or not, that's up to them. But I was at a church service. I got back deep in the church, and it was like as if everybody disappeared. And I heard his voice again. He said, I've seen your faith and your loyalty, and I will return your child to you and bless you with another one.
Wow.
And he showed me my children before they were even born.
Wow.
I saw my daughter, then my son, and my daughter and son was almost 2 years apart. That was in 84, and then in 85, he told me to move to Charlotte. I'd never been to Charlotte in my life. I was born in the eastern part of North Carolina. The closest I came to Charlotte was Greensboro. I never even been to Charlotte, but I came. Anyway, that was 85. In 85, my daughter was conceived. 86, my daughter was born.
Okay.
And in 87, my son was conceived, and in 88, he was born, just like he showed me. And from that moment on, I just started, well, whatever you want me to do, Lord, I'll do it. And they called me into teaching, and I started teaching and going to people's home, teaching Bible study and all that. Then he just elevated me up to more and more and doing more and more to the point where he licensed me to do prison ministry, nursing home ministry, outreach ministries, and all this. So it ran from, actually the turning point was in 84, but the ministry started because of the turning point, because of the fact that it opened my life to the point where I want to be obedient to him. I want to do whatever he wants me to do.
Okay, so that is such a powerful testimony, encouraging testimony. And unpack for some people, though, how you heard from the Lord, because you say you were not really in tune with a higher power or God and, Jesus. So What was going on? What were the circumstances?
It was like something different because, as I said, when I was brought up in the church during the time. My family, there was a church-oriented family, but,
Okay.
you know, I'll be honest with you, I was in the church, but the church wasn't in me.
Okay.
It's just as simple as that. But
Okay.
that particular day when I was walking and he spoke to me, it was just like as I'm talking to you. It's like somehow I'm looking all around to everybody. What was this? You know, and I felt it like when he spoke. And the second time when he spoke, now I was angry and upset. It was the same way. I felt it. And I think about the Bible, the scripture said, my sheep know my voice. Many times we may not realize we're his sheep, but we are his sheep. You got all types of sheep. So some may be good sheep, some may be bad sheep, but you still his sheep. So once I began to recognize his voice and feel it more on the inside, I began to understand it even more. That was, it's like if a father will call you, your father call your name out. He don't have to even be in the room with you, and you hear your father's voice. You know your father's voice, even though you don't see him.
Right.
And it was like that. So it was like an eye-opening to me in a spiritual sense, and that's what really began to get me to the point where I wanted to build more of a relationship with him.
I see.
To get an understanding of him, because he made me. I mean, I didn't make myself. He made me. So that was pretty much what began to start the ministry off right there.
Okay, all right. And so you came to Charlotte. You were led to Charlotte. And then how did you get led to doing an actual television show?
Well, that came about, like I said, he started me with the ministry of God's Encouraging Word Outreach Ministry in the year 2000.
Okay.
And as I said, he put it in my heart to start the ministry, TV part of it, because to branch it out, because I realized I'm not the only one that got a testimony. Everybody got some kind of testimony of something God had done to it. And when he had put that in my heart, I went to the original Access 21. It used to be on Moorhead Street and all that, but they were getting ready to converge over here.
Okay, to a new
So
studio.
that's what brought me over here to start it here. And from there on, I just started doing TV ministries here. I would come and do some shows here. And then it just branched out to the point where it got to be like more outreach. I would do a show here and anywhere, and people home or whatever, with their permission or whatever.
Right.
And nursing homes and stuff like that.
Okay. And so you pretty much took your show on the road or just kind of out in the field.
It's pretty much out in the field, just like with me.
Yeah. And so now what we see on the air, what you put on, are shows that are done in your church, right?
Right.
So how do you navigate that? All the different things that may happen in church, the different equipment that you need. How do you navigate that?
Well, God blessed me to the point where I, believe it or not, I went to a lot of thrift stores, flea markets, and all this, finding things like CG title makers and all these things, and put up my own little studio where I could edit if I needed to.
Right.
Of course, back in the day, I could come here if I wanted to, but because I was working so much on my job, plus doing with the ministry, it didn't give me that much free time.
Sure.
So many times I had other people that would really help me out a lot. So there was times that others would stand in and host for me, like Dr. Wilcock or many other people. Even my daughter, my son, they would come in. They may host. I would just do the camera, do whatever. I was doing all that backup work that I needed to do, so that the show would still go on and they still could do it.
Nice. Yeah, well, I've noticed on your show, you know, those graphics that you have, your opening graphics, and you have different music for every show, for the beginning of every show. So that's neat. Talk a little bit more about that.
Well, that comes from, I started playing the guitar when I was about 9, maybe 10 years old. So,
look at that.
And I play like lead, bass, keyboard, drums. I have mixers. I mix my own music down. And I just pick out a song what I feel like the music of my own creation that fits with whatever the show may be about or whatever the topic may be about, and I just upload it to it.
Yeah, that is so creative. I mean, it's, first of all, you are using your gifts and talents. You are piecing it all together with the creativity of the show. And you mentioned something once before we came on air about the whole copyright issue.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so not having to worry about infringing on someone's copyright and its original work. So that's smart. That's very smart.
Well, thank God.
I like that. I like that. So when it comes to encouraging testimonies, and you shared one, you know, a few, about how you even came to Charlotte and what was happening in your life in Chicago. But what are some of the other encouraging testimonies that you feel like really influenced you to do the show and name the show that?
Well, I guess the greatest thing that I look at when it comes to the naming of the show is the encouraging part, because I learned through firsthand life experience, you know, without a test, you can't have no testimony. And with the tests that I've been through, it helped me to be able to have a testimony. And I know there's tests that others have been through. I've had people on the show. The gentleman used to walk around every Easter carrying a cross. He was on the show with it, and he explained why he did that, because he was the same way. He was like, he wasn't that close to the Lord, but when he got close to the Lord, he wanted to do something special for the Lord. And so he was like, he was saying, the Lord was willing to carry a cross for me. Why can't I at least do it for him? And I had another gentleman that had been shot 5 times in the head.
What?
And they managed to remove 3 of the bullets. 2 of the bullets were still in him, and he's still alive to this very day. He was on the show. So it was like showing the goodness and the power of God, that we are making it because of God, because of His mercy and grace and His power. And that's what it put it in my spirit. That's what the Lord just said. Well, call it encouraging testimony, not just my testimony, but others that will encourage people that may be going through. We had people that's been evicted in shelters. We had people going through. One lady had been molested by her father, got pregnant and all this, and they wanted her to get rid of the child, but she refused to do that. And she was testifying about it. But so it was like showing that the things that we go through, and some things people go through that we may not go through. We may not all go through the same thing, but somebody's going through something. And somebody out there can relate to it, what they're going through, and it encourages them that, you know, like, if I can make it, so can you. But you got to go by God first.
That is good, because this world is a mess.
Yes.
It's a mess.
It is.
And having all the things that, you know, you're saying that we have to overcome, or some people have to overcome, all that may not be your testimony or your test or my test, but it's still out there. And it's still very much encouraging, because it's about how to live. Right? About how to live. So
that's where the basic of the service is. And with the nursing home and prison ministry and shelter ministry, so many people out there feel like they've been abandoned, like they don't care. I mean, sometime when I would go to the nursing home, and I would look at how many times people would actually visit them. And families sometimes put them in the nursing home and never even come back to visit or anything like that. So they need that encouragement. They need to let them know there are people out there who really do care. And they see you as a family. So
that's encouraging to me, because I actually was thinking about that very thing about nursing homes and some different ideas that I have. And so that's good you mentioned that. You know, I know that, you know, while we're here on earth, because, you know, we have people who are stepping into eternity, but while we're here on earth, we need to have that encouragement. And so, but speaking of stepping into eternity, I know that your wife has, she's already left us, passed on, but just to kind of talk a little bit about her and what she did before because she passed in 2019, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so fortunately she didn't have to deal with COVID.
She
Right.
didn't have to deal with COVID.
That's good. But in terms of when she was here, can you talk a little bit about her contribution to the ministry, to the show, to the congregation? Let's talk a little bit about her.
Well, she was like a go-getter, like a worker. She helped me organize. I had a little booklet because I like writing things down when I had, TV episodes, and I had all my episodes. And she cataloged it and put it in order and all this, and 2 huge books and all that. And she would do things. She would help decorate, like with the church building. And she was like more like a modest person, because sometimes I would try to get her, okay, you can host a show, you can. She was like the background. She said, no, I just want to be a helper. That's all I want to do is help, as long as I can help. And she was very, when it came to decorating and certain things, when it to like the TV show, she was very creative. She would come to me like with ideas and all that. And my daughter would as well, and there was others that would come. So she was like, I would say like a backbone in the shadows. I was trying to get her out more outgoing, but she was just content as she could being in the background.
Being behind the scenes.
Yes, still doing her part.
Yeah, well, that's good. First Lady Juanita Davis, right?
Yes.
That's wonderful to hear that, because it does take teamwork in this industry, and to do a show. And it's good that you do what you do. The music, the graphics, and ministering and putting that on this platform. But it takes a team.
Yeah, it takes a team. It takes a team. That's why, I thank God for all the people that I've said have helped me down through the years, my children, mother, my many other people that have came in and helped, because there was times I even said to the Lord, I can't do this by myself. I need help. And he was always sending someone in to help. They would be helped to part where, it helped. That's why I don't, I've always gotten to the point where I don't push it to the, I do it by myself. I don't. I mean, there are people that help me out a lot in the ministry.
That's good. That's really good. And we are in an age right now, a phase right now, where it seems like, we were going to have to separate ourselves from people. And the pandemic brought that on, had everyone pivot. So how did you pivot during COVID?
Well, actually, the ministry part still went on, and I thank God for the TV ministry, because of the fact by me not being able to go into the nursing home, they still could see it on the TV program, so they still could get that. And that outreach, I did it very cautiously, but I still pretty much worked in the ministry in that way, in that aspect, and I've even had some people that, like I would just call them, talk to them, pray with them. If I couldn't go over it, I would call them, see how they're doing. If they needed prayer, I would pray with them over the phone and all that. So the aspect of the ministry itself still went, it just wasn't in the physical part because of COVID.
Yeah, we learned a lot. We learned how to navigate differently.
Yeah, it does.
And that's good that you kept going, because it was still necessary. But there were a lot of different things that happened. So your show kept going, and we still learned some life lessons. And so can you elaborate on that? What were some of the life lessons that you feel like you learned, your congregation learned, all of us as a community learned?
I feel like what we as a community and people should learn, especially from COVID, and is that no matter what we're going through, as I said, I look back even to the very beginning when the Lord, as I said, told me, said, by your own words. And I look at it as if to me, he's showing us, okay, I'm gonna keep my word. I got your back. I'm there for you. will you keep your word? Will you do what you're supposed to do? Will you have my back? So it's like when these things arise, what are you going to do? Are you still going to do what you promised him you're going to do? Or are you going to come up with an excuse? And I've always, even in each elevation that the Lord had took me through, I've always said to him, Lord, if you open the door, I'll do it. So if he opened the door and I'm standing there, then that means I'm not doing it. I got to go through the door and do what I said I'm going to do. Even the Bible said, be ye doers of the words and not hearers only. So I look at it as an opportunity of us to show him, okay, we going through all this, but I'm still going to keep my word to you. I'm still going to give my best. I'm still going to give what I promised you I would give. And I feel like it's a test. Everything was a test.
That's awesome. And it sounds also like you're basically saying to all of us, we have choices.
Yeah.
We can do or not.
Yeah.
We can go through or not, go through a door, open door or not.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I tell a lot of the people that fellowship with me in the ministry, I've already, as the Bible said, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess. And like I tell them, it didn't say you're going to come up with an excuse or alibi. It said you're going to confess whether you did or whether you didn't. So, if as we take him at his word, he should be able to trust us at all. And he knows what's going on, but will you still do it? So you might have to work around it, but you can still get it done.
Interesting. Well, now here we are. We're, coming back into some things, with new knowledge.
Yes.
New lessons. So how do you plan to move forward, like with your show?
Well, that's again, I thank God that he gave me help, because I'm not that very good at computers and all this. I can build a studio with music and all this stuff, but it's just computers are a little bit out of my grasp. So he sent people to help. My daughter helped me. As I said, my children's mother, they helped me, and many other people come in and help me. And I plan to advance it even more, and I want to broaden it out even more to the point where people can realize that, as the Bible said, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. Everybody was important to him. It's not just me, not just them, everybody is important. And once they realize that they are somebody in the Lord, they're important. It's just to help people build a closer relationship. I'm not trying to say it like I'm perfect now, because I'm not, but it's to build a relationship. And how can you have a relationship if there's no communication?
And what prompted you to write a book? Were you
Actually,
doing a journey?
Did. Well, the Lord did. He put it in my heart way back in '85 when he was working with me then. And I wrote it, but I didn't get it published until 2015. That's when he told me to publish it. So I published it then. And it's, like I said, building with the relationship between like God, the Father, and Jesus, the Son, and building relationship to Holy all the way down. How it is, and they communicate with each other, and that's how we have to be. We have to be able to communicate not only to them but to each other as well. And I tell my children all the time, don't talk at me, talk to me.
Talk to you.
Yeah.
Very good. Your children can learn that, and then you said you had grandchildren.
Oh, yes.
So you can learn that. How do they get involved? Do they get involved with you doing some different things?
Like many times at the nursing home, for example, like Christmas would come up or Easter, the kids would come and they'd participate in it. They would like give little gifts out to the people in the rooms that couldn't get out. They participate in it a lot in any way that they can.
Very good. Very good. And it sounds like if they participate with you out in the field doing the ministry, they participate with you in your church?
Oh, yes, they come. Yeah. My daughter, she's a pastor, and my son is a pastor. Both of them are pastor. And I've always encouraged them to do what the Lord tells you to do.
I think I did see your daughter on one of the programs who was, you did call her out as a pastor. Yeah. So very nice, very good, putting them to work. Well, speaking of the younger generations and the things that they're into, we know about social media.
Right.
So have they gotten you tapped into that yet?
Oh yes, because my daughter was one that helped me get to the being on Facebook and all this, and others that helped me, and I'm getting there. And like I told my daughter, when I came up, the only computer we had was a piece of paper and a pencil. So you got to give me a little bit more time with that.
Right.
God's still working with me on that, so I'm getting it. So they help out tremendously on that.
That's good. That's funny though, but because I just saw a post, somebody posted a Yoda from Star Wars, if y'all don't know, from Star Wars, sitting beside a dial-up phone. And they said, this is from the days when nobody said, I lost my phone. So that's what it sounds like with you. But that's funny. But I did know that you put yourself, or the ministry is on Facebook, and like you said, Vimeo, right?
Yes.
And YouTube. Okay, great. So have you ever used any of those live features? Are they getting you into that? They working me into it. Okay.
So whenever they get the chance, they help me out. So sometimes I may do just the basics, like put the camera there, do what I got to do, and then turn it off. But then they'll come in and they'll help me with other areas.
With the rest of it.
Yeah, with the rest of it.
That's good. You guys should do a show based on how that process goes. Get you 2 cameras,
Yes.
One with what you're doing for the ministry and on the show, and then the other one is like, okay, the process of that behind the scenes.
True.
Yeah. Well, before we go, would you like to tell us anything more about the ministry, any feedback you're getting?
Well, the ministry is great. I thank God for it. There was times I did get discouraged, but it seemed like every time I got a little discouraged, God would always do something to show me, it's reaching people. It's reaching people, and that's why I thank God for the TV ministry, the internet ministry, and all that, because I just want to do all that I can for the Lord, because, like I said, we all owe Him. But some may owe more than others do. But I thank Him, and I have to live up to my word. So
I like that, and we thank Him too, and we thank you for being on the show tonight. You've given us a lot to chew on, and I do hope that people will tune in. So we'll put up the times and dates for the show. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate it.
Everyone. Thank you so much also for joining us for this episode of CMPAC Spotlight. Join us the next time, and we hope to see you then.